Our next
Thanks.
contestant is FROG2G from Montenegro. On the team there, as you can see, we've got Gordana Vujovic, Biljana Vujovic, and Hajdana Milovic. Ladies, thank you very much for joining us, but we're going to take a quick look at a video to see what your app is all about.
Team from Grey to Green has gathered.
Hi there.
Hello!
Trees make everything better. They are a great natural weapon to fight climate change.
But we have a problem. Our forests are diminishing at an alarming rate. To appreciate trees is not enough. We need to take an active role. Through From Grey to Green, we are assuming one.
We will start by gaining insight into the available data relevant for our field of research.
We will make a quality map of the existing areas under forest and determine the categories of trees inside them. Based on the data and our research, we will be able to offer recommendations in which direction the forest area should expand, which type of trees to plant, and why exactly there.
Sounds ambitious, we agree, but we're not afraid. Our intention is to enjoy the journey and deliver worthy results.
Thank you. See you in November.
Well, thank you, ladies. Indeed, we can see you now on the screen for today's Datathon. So over to you for your quick pitch to our audience.
Hello, greetings from Team FROG. Thank you first for the opportunity to present results of our work on this very important project. I would like to go straight to presentation. First slide, please. Right to breathe clean air and the right to access the green areas are crucial for our well-being general and for our health. But if you, next slide please, but if you wonder, are we really free to exercise those rights, then the answer will be, it depends where we live. Next slide please. World Health Organization now put air quality as the main environmental threat to human life, leading to approximately, next slide please, 7 million deaths per year. And I think really that we can all agree that that data is devastating. Next slide, please. During our research, we confirmed a clear correlation between air pollution on one side and green areas on the other side. Hence, our motivation to investigate current status and sustainable ways to conserve, to preserve, and to expand areas under trees. Next slide, please. So, what we really do? We integrated a huge data set in order to create an interactive visualization of trees in selected EU capitals. After that, we created from the scratch new data tree base, and we added data sets for every tree that is in it. Based on all this data, we were able to give a quality recommendation for afforestation and reforestation in selected cities. Next slide, please.
Now we will take, you can play video. Now we will take a look how it works our interactive visualization. As you can see, one way to use it is to select a city and its region, and you will find more information about its tree, including tree number, species diversity, geographical distribution, visual representation. On the map, you can trees are represented by circles, and the color of the circle represent its tree species. You can filter data by their category, and you can analyze their diversity across regions. Our main advantage is integration of the data from different countries in a way that can be used by anyone, whether it is an institution or an individual. Apart from it, with just a few clicks, you can get very specific details about trees which you are interested in. On the next slide, the logic step forward is to provide access to certain set of features about trees that are used in our app. Since available databases of the trees were mostly limited either by a small number of tree species, insufficient features, or limited access, we created our own database of the trees and we identify features for providing insight into the selected tree. On the next slide, we will see database through visualization that we called significant facts about European trees. The process is similar. Once you make a selection of the city and its region, you find visual representation of all trees there. But selecting a particular tree, then you can find information where it is best to plant it, which family it is, which category it belongs, and for what purpose it is most often used. Now the next step is this step is a starting point for the next slide and the third part of our app.
So, have you ever wondered which type of tree would grow best in your city? Well, we did just that, and we provided answer to that question and more. You can see on this representation the answers that we provided. So these are the top 10 trees to be extended in a city, top 10 trees to be introduced to this city, and also top 10 trees that should be limited or reduced in that city. I will now shortly explain how this algorithm of ours works. After processing of a lot of tree data, speaking on over 1 million trees, we generated three features. These three features combined with were used actually to derive a rating for each tree. This rating helped us to develop similarity matrix. This similarity matrix represents our model, which was validated across the test data, and based on it, after the quality was confirmed, tree recommendation was given. On the next slide, you can see data which was used and also which technologies we've used. I would go to the next slide and shortly explain the main challenges that we had. This is mainly that a majority of data sources was closed for European cities, was not open, there is no unique taxonomy, data structure differs, and existing tree databases cover limited features. Coming to the next slide and next steps. So we would need your help in order to get more data, more quality recommendation, and at the end improve user experience. That would be all from our side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies. That was absolutely fascinating. We're delighted that you were able to share that with us. I want to remind our audience that they can, of course, ask questions using Slido. Just go to slido.com and enter EU Datathon. Now, we have a question. We've got, how many data sets do you use and from what sources?
So, with regards to the data sources, we've used data on 6 major European cities, which were open. Other than that, we could not find open data across the web. And currently in our database, we have data on over 1 million of European trees.
And I know this is a question I ask every year of a couple of teams on the EU Datathon. Is there any data that you could get that you think you would be able to use to make the app even better, that you weren't able to find?
Currently, the issue was that, as I've said, we needed to go to the local level and approach local administration in order to get data on certain cities, and this was quite a challenge for us. I would say that most this insight would be given if we would integrate all the Europe, starting maybe with all the European capitals, because once you see this distribution on the European level, it could help you to derive strategy from the top down as well. Because currently, I would say that we are mostly focused on the local level, and the data is mainly in local languages and only somehow, I would say, intended to be used within the city or local, from the side of city or local government and administration.
And I mean, you say it's going to be used from that side. Do you also see it potentially being used in an education setting?
Yes, of course, because we've here, this is the first step would for sure be to integrate all this data. And once we have it and we visualize it, then we can learn from it. So as you could see in our representation, you could see the distribution of the European trees, depending on the categories. You can see where we are in sense of preserving the trees which should be preserved, where we are in handling invasive European trees, where we are in terms of how much evergreen trees do we have, how much deciduous trees do we have. Only by utilizing this data, we actually add value to it. And from it, we can only learn, I would say.
And we have a question here asking, does it prioritize the planting of native species?
Yes, the algorithm was produced in a way to include higher weight for the list of trees which are in the red tree list of which was given by the European Commission.
And finally then, what sort of interaction do you have with local forest administration? So if they agree with the proposals, can they get involved and modify the proposals? And what sort of changes do you anticipate?
We need for data to be more available. We need them to be free. That is precondition to get better list application. List application can be a great tool, one of the tools for implementation of the EU forestation strategy for 2030, because that strategy predicts 3 billion additional trees till 2030. But before that, you need to define clear criteria how to conserve and how to preserve, and then the next step is afforestation. Tools like this are very valuable now, and they need to be better. But in order for them to be better, like Biljana already explained, we need to integrate more data. We need more data to be available, to be free, to be accessible. And this application would be only better.
Cooperation, I would say, between the local and the global level, because we need here to have clear strategy on what data should be shared and what data should be seen as open data and thus utilized.
We basically need consensus.
And when we're talking about this sort of data, do you think there will be other types, for example, satellite data or even LiDAR that might be able to assist?
Well, all that can be integrated, all that is compatible with our application.
Oh, and a final question I thought we were going to
say.
Yes.
So the list of cities is rather short. Is this because your application is still young or because such data is not available in certain places?
Oh, we tried. We tried to collect more data, to bring more cities, but it wasn't easy. It was impossible, mostly, because they are locked on.
They do not exist as public data, and thus we've only had to limit to these cities which had information. I must mention that all these databases were actually extracted using local languages, because majority of them are really in local languages. So we needed to translate them and make sense out of them after we did this kind of transformations.
Well, thank you very much, ladies. Let's hope that you're taking part in this will encourage those municipalities to get that data out there and make it open.